Okay, I'll just start with what I don't like. I don't like guacamole that is blended into oblivion and it's just a bunch of green paste. Don't love that. I'm not a big fan of citrus in my guacamole. I like old school plain guacamole, and for me that means a quarter of a white onion. So I'm just going to carefully, I'll just get that end off, carefully cut it. Forgive me while I pay close attention to what I'm doing. I want it rather fine. You know, some people do this part in their food processor, and you could do that, but I'm going to just slice it fine enough, and in fact I'm going to stop right here, and then I can always put more in. So in goes the white onion. That's step number one. Step number two is serrano chili. That's my favorite kind of chili. It's really a lot spicier than jalapeno, and that's the way I like it. But you could use jalapeno, no problem. And if you don't want it too spicy, then just get the seeds out and the ribs out. That's where all the spice lies. But I'm going to keep this spicy. And I don't think it's going to be too bad. You know what I'll do is sometimes I just taste and see what the spice level is. That's not too super spicy. But you know what, just because I don't know of the friends who are over, I'm not sure if everybody loves spice, so I'll just take a little bit out. And then get this as finely done as you can as well. So this forms the basis. White onions, very finely, almost minced chili. I'm gonna go over this again with my knife. And cilantro. I like to garnish with cilantro, and I like to put some down here in my flavor base. So I'm just going to cut it all up right now. I'm not a big worrier with guacamole when it comes to the stems, because I'll just chop them up. So chop, 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 chop. I have my flautas, or I should say my fake out flautas in the oven. And one of the things I love to do is take a flauta and dip it into the guacamole. So again, I don't think anybody's going to miss or know that I'm just winging it here on lunch. So I'm going to put about 3/4 of this amount of cilantro right in here. And that's where we start. Now, very important is to salt as I go along here. So I'm going to mix this up and just get a little bit of salt before I get the avocados in. And grab the avocados, which happen to be at a beautiful ripeness. You can't really use unripe avocados, and overly ripe is not great either because you don't want brown. So if I'm lucky, I think these are just about perfect. And you can tell because your thumb should head in a little bit, make a little indent, but not too much. So to get the avocado beautiful green flesh out, I go round and round like this. Great. Now, one of the reasons a lot of people use lime juice in their guacamole is to prevent the avocados from going brown. But I have a tip for you, which is why I'm not getting rid of this seed. And this is another little trick I learned. If you put the seed in your guacamole, when it's done, it prevents the avocado from browning. And I do not have any scientific information as to why that happens. So anyway, just get them all in here. If you don't feel like making guacamole, we could have stuck the avocado in our flautas. That would have been fun too. And here's the other thing. I told you I don't like really smooth guacamole. Well, I actually like chunky guacamole. That is what is good in my eyes. So I just mash, but leave some chunks. And by the time we're all done here, it's gonna look perfectly presentable. But I just like to I like to dig in there and have like a little bit of mashed up avocado and then some chunkiness. I just think it's interesting. Okay, one more thing I do with my guacamole, and this is another thing. Tomatoes bring acidity, and acidity is something, acidulating something means that you get some acid on the outside and it prevents it from oxidizing. So not only do I love the color of some tomatoes in my guacamole, but I think it really serves to, you know, help prevent the browning. And it's got this nice, cool, refreshing counterpoint to the soft, creamy avocado. All right, this is it, we're almost done. So my flautas should be almost ready. I'm going to take a look and get them out of the oven. Hopefully I've timed this whole operation correctly. And this is it. This is my guacamole, my favorite. And see, it's chunky. It looks pretty, doesn't it? I'm going to salt one more time. Avocados and salt love each other. It's just a fact. And plate it up. Oh, yum. This is a very exciting moment when the guacamole is done. And I can get some before everybody comes in and eats it. And then one last thing is just a sprinkling of cilantro on top.